Imagine a man who can completely change the world. A man who brought our planet into a new era of technology, creativity, and connectivity. But this man could also make those closest to him tremble in fear. A man with a genius mind, but whose personality was so complex that many believed he was almost impossible to work with. Steve Jobs, a name synonymous with iconic products, iPhone, iPad, MacBook, items that anyone can recognize in just a few seconds. But have you ever wondered what truly made Steve Jobs who he was? For someone who changed the way we perceive technology, could it simply be talent? Or was there something more? A complicated person, full of contradictions, who few truly understood. Behind the genius of a creative mastermind was an extremely determined character, but also one that could be brutally harsh. Steve Jobs was a person admired by the world, but those who worked closest with him had to endure the obsessive nature of a man who could suddenly change decisions, cancel projects in a heartbeat, or argue vehemently. A person so great that he helped Apple become the most valuable company in the world, but also someone who was unceremoniously ousted from the very company he founded, only to return as a hero, saving Apple from the brink of bankruptcy. So why was Steve Jobs able to create such remarkable products while no one could easily work with him? Why did those around him say he was incredibly difficult, yet couldn't deny his innate talent and visionary ability? Steve Jobs' life wasn't just about technology. It was a constant struggle between personal ego and boundless creativity. A life where major decisions were often made in the heat of the moment, regardless of the advice of others. And that's why people still debate, genius or madman? Join me as we dive into the life of Steve Jobs. Not just his resounding successes, but the hidden corners, bold decisions, and lessons that help us better understand one of the most influential figures in the history of technology. The book Steve Jobs and All the Creative People in My Life is not just a typical biography, but rather a journey exploring one of the most great and complex figures in the history of technology. Steve Jobs' life, from his difficult early years in a less-than-ideal family environment to founding Apple and building a global technology empire, is truly a captivating story filled with valuable lessons. Steve Jobs was born into a modest family in San Francisco, a boy who didn't grow up in an ideal setting. His adoptive parents loved him, but they didn't quite understand the path he would eventually take. In fact, Jobs was often considered odd as a child and was not the best student, even dropping out of college to pursue his own interests. Many believed he wouldn't amount to much. However, it was during this time that Jobs discovered a deep passion for technology and design. One of the boldest decisions of his life was when he dropped out of school and enrolled in various informal courses, where he learned valuable lessons, not from textbooks, but from real-life experiences. He turned to fields like calligraphy, arts, and design, areas that would later play a crucial role in shaping the signature design philosophy of Apple. In many ways, Jobs' life and learning journey were filled with challenges that even he could not predict the outcome of. When founding Apple, Jobs and his close friend Steve Wozniak were simply two young men with a dream of bringing computers to every household. At the time, the concept of a personal computer was almost seen as a far-fetched idea by many. But Jobs didn't think like that. He believed that technology could change the world, and Apple was the bridge to make that dream come true. The road to achieving that, however, was far from easy. Looking back on Apple's early days, Jobs had intense disagreements with Wozniak, and even with investors. Jobs' decisions often seemed reckless to others, but in reality, they were breakthrough steps. For example, Jobs was the first to recognize that computers had to be not only powerful, but also beautiful and user-friendly. This was why the Apple II was born with a completely different design, simpler and more accessible than any computer before it. However, Jobs' success didn't come without struggle. Apple achieved great things, but it also faced numerous challenges. One of the biggest challenges was when Jobs was ousted from his own company in 1985. It's hard to imagine a founder being thrown out like that. Yet, during this period, Jobs learned valuable lessons. He didn't give up. Instead, he reaffirmed his worth by founding Next and Pixar. It was Pixar that produced the film Toy Story, a turning point that not only established Jobs as a tech mogul, but also as a key figure in the entertainment industry. The hardships and challenges Jobs faced throughout his career were not just lessons in perseverance, but also proof of his far-sighted vision. Despite his failure and being pushed out of the very company he founded, Jobs never gave up. On the contrary, those setbacks shaped him into a stronger leader and innovator. In the end, it was Jobs who led Apple from the brink of bankruptcy to become the most valuable company in the world. Certainly, the story of Steve Jobs is not just a tale of rising from poverty to fame and fortune. It's a series of challenges, failures, and bold decisions. But above all, it's the journey of a man who never gave up on his dreams, someone willing to do what others thought was crazy. And that's what made Steve Jobs who he was, a legend in the world of technology. Chapter number 1. The founding of Apple. In 1976, in a small garage in California, two young men, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, co-founded Apple with a bold mission to revolutionize the personal computer industry. But unlike what we see today, the concept of a personal computer was almost a dream back then. Computers were mainly used in labs, schools, and large businesses. The market wasn't ready for a device that could fit into every household. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak represented two essential elements that were critical to Apple's creation. Jobs, with his ability to see the big picture and sharp strategic vision, recognized the massive potential of personal computers and how they could become an integral part of daily life. Jobs wasn't the one directly creating the technology, but he had an uncanny ability to spot opportunities that others couldn't. He could imagine a world where every household owned a computer, and what Apple needed to do was make that vision a reality. On the other hand, Steve Wozniak, the co-founder and technical genius, was the one who actually designed and built Apple's first computers, including the Apple Pi and Apple II. The first Apple Pi, their first computer, was built from basic components that Wozniak personally assembled. However, unlike Jobs, Wozniak didn't have the market instincts or the ability to sell the product. For Wozniak, technology was the most important thing, and he wasn't concerned with creating a product that would convince customers to buy it. An example of the perfect partnership between Jobs and Wozniak can be seen in the creation of the Apple II. Wozniak invented and built a personal computer that was powerful yet easy to use, but it was Jobs who saw the commercial potential of the product. Jobs made the bold decision to rework the Apple II to make it more market-friendly and user-friendly with an interface that was easier to navigate. Jobs was the one who convinced investors and retailers to bring the Apple II to consumers. Another interesting example is the debate between Jobs and Wozniak about how to develop their products. Jobs always wanted to create simple, beautiful, and user-friendly products, while Wozniak focused on perfecting the technology and features. Jobs could be seen as difficult to work with, but it was this persistence and determination that helped Apple become one of the most valuable companies in the world. Steve Jobs was not just a founder, he was a visionary leader. He understood that technology wasn't just about creating a good product. It had to be something that made people feel different, something that they would fall in love with and want to own. It was because of this vision that the Apple II became the first personal computer to be sold widely and laid the foundation for Apple's future success. In many ways, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak created a perfect Apple through their partnership. Jobs didn't just see the product, he saw the market. Wozniak, with his innate tech skills, helped turn those ideas into reality. Each had a clear role, but it was the synergy between vision and execution that enabled Apple to overcome early difficulties and become a revolutionary brand. The story of Jobs and Wozniak is is a clear example of how the combination of visionary thinkers and skilled executors is a critical factor in creating great advancements. Jobs couldn't have done all that he did without Wozniak, and conversely, Wozniak wouldn't have been able to bring his technology to the world without someone like Jobs leading the way. This is the secret behind Apple's success, the fusion of creative thinking and flawless execution. Chapter number 2. Revolutionizing the tech industry. Revolutionizing the tech industry. Steve Jobs was not just the founder of Apple, but he was also an ambitious creator who completely transformed the tech industry with groundbreaking products. Not only did he elevate Apple to become one of the most valuable companies in the world, but he also created devices that became symbols of the digital age, forever changing the way we work, entertain ourselves, and connect with the world. Perhaps no product illustrates this revolution better than the iPhone. When the iPhone debuted in 2007, it was not just a phone. It was a combination of a computer, a music player, and a camera, all packed into one compact device. Before that, phones were primarily used for calling and texting, and touchscreen interfaces like those on the iPhone barely existed. Jobs predicted that users would want more than just a phone for calls and messages. They needed an all-in-one device that connected them to everything in their lives, easy to use and beautiful to look at. A clear example of Jobs' creativity is his decision to remove the physical keyboard and replace it with a full touchscreen. This move didn't just change how we use phones, it reshaped the entire smartphone industry. Big phone manufacturers like Nokia and BlackBerry had stuck with physical keyboards and were left behind when the iPhone came out. The absence of a physical keyboard was a revolutionary step, and it later became the standard for all smartphones. Beyond the iPhone, other products like the iPad, iPod, and MacBook also contributed to the massive shift in the electronics industry. The iPod wasn't the first music player, but it was Jobs who turned it into a cultural icon with the iTunes Store and legal music downloads. The iPod changed how we listen to music, shifting from traditional CDs to downloading and listening to digital music, opening a new era for the music industry. The iPad brought its own revolution in the tablet market. Before the iPad launched in 2010, tablets had little to no presence in the market. Products like the Microsoft tablet and similar devices failed because they were too complicated and hard to use. However, the iPad did what no one thought possible. It created a tablet that was not only lightweight and easy to use, but also capable of handling daily work and entertainment tasks. The iPad became the go-to device for those who wanted something lighter than a laptop, but powerful enough for work and play. The MacBook was also not just any ordinary laptop. Jobs understood that users needed more than just a computer. They needed a device that was beautifully designed, lightweight, user-friendly, and powerful. The MacBook, with its aluminum unibody design, stunning Retina display, and smooth macOS operating system, didn't just change how we viewed laptops. It was the perfect combination of design and performance. It's a prime example of how Jobs would never settle for mediocrity when creating a product. Every detail, from the keyboard to the ports, was optimized to offer the best user experience. From my personal perspective, Jobs was not just a creator. He was a tech visionary. He had the ability to see the future and understand that technology wasn't just for current needs. It had to stay ahead of its time. What he did was create products that didn't just change how we use technology, but how we lived. When you use an iPhone, iPad, or MacBook, you're not just using a device. You're engaging with a technological revolution that Jobs brought to life. Each of Jobs' products embodied his vision of a world where technology wasn't just a tool, but an integral part of our daily lives. Apple's products didn't just change the electronics industry. They deeply influenced lifestyles, habits, and how we connect with each other. Can you imagine life today without the iPhone, without mobile devices and convenient tablets? Jobs created products that not only met practical needs, but also stimulated and reshaped how we think about technology and the world around us. Chapter number 3. Leadership Style. Steve Jobs was not only an exceptional creator, but also a leader with a unique and controversial style. The book vividly portrays how Jobs led Apple through numerous challenges, creating revolutionary products and transforming the company into the tech giant we know today. However, his leadership style was not always easy to understand for everyone. Jobs was famous for being demanding and at times making his employees feel uncomfortable and stressed. One of the most vivid examples of his leadership style can be seen during the development of the Apple II, Apple's first personal computer. Jobs not only required engineers to build a product with superior technical specifications, but also demanded it to be aesthetically beautiful, user-friendly, and drastically different from anything else on the market. This meant that those working with Jobs had to not only be skilled, but also capable of handling immense pressure. Jobs frequently criticized designs that he deemed imperfect, and he wasn't afraid to ask his team to make drastic changes until they achieved the level of perfection he envisioned. However, it was this perfectionism that drove the creation of exceptional products. A prime example is the iPhone. Jobs did not accept just any ordinary phone. He required the engineers at Apple to create a product that was not only a phone, but also a handheld computer, a media device, and a communication tool, all packed into one. Jobs' relentless drive pushed his team to work tirelessly, overcoming every obstacle to bring the first iPhone to life, and the result was a product that transformed the entire mobile industry. Yet Jobs wasn't just a strict and demanding leader. He had the ability to inspire and ignite creativity within his team. While he could be harsh and often critical, he did so because he firmly believed in the potential of his employees and the products they were working on. A standout example of this is when Apple was developing the Macintosh. Jobs demanded that the design team work around the clock, sometimes with little to no breaks. He also gave them unrealistic challenges, such as asking them to create a machine with an incredible graphical interface, even though the technology of the time was not yet capable of supporting it. These demands pushed engineers and designers to come up with creative and groundbreaking solutions. Personally, I believe that Jobs' leadership style might not have been suitable for everyone, but it cultivated a work culture full of passion and determination. He had the unique ability to unlock untapped potential in both the technology and people around him, turning what seemed impossible into reality. That said, the price of excellence was very high. Those who worked with Jobs had to not only be talented, but also withstand intense pressure and work in a demanding, high-stress environment. One of the biggest lessons I take away from Jobs' leadership is, to create something great, you must be willing to take risks and always set higher goals. Jobs never settled for what was good enough and constantly pushed people to aim higher. However, this relentless pursuit of excellence led him to face many criticisms throughout his career. But without the courage to take risks, and without ever compromising, products like the iPhone, MacBook, and iPad might never have come to life. In conclusion, Jobs' leadership style was a blend of determination and inspiration, of high expectations and deep trust in the potential of his team. Jobs had the remarkable ability to see possibility in the unrefined, and it was this ability that allowed him to make bold decisions and lead Apple from a garage startup to a global tech empire. Chapter number 4. Creative Field. The book not only tells the story of Steve Jobs, but also opens a window into the significant influence of other creative individuals who played key roles in his career, helping to create the iconic products of Apple and Pixar. Among these, two names stand out: Johnny Ive and Ed Catmull. Johnny Ive was an indispensable partner to Jobs in creating breakthrough designs. Jobs and Ive weren't just colleagues, they were co-creators who helped define the identity of Apple. A prime example is the iPhone. While Jobs had the visionary outlook and the ability to shape future technology trends, Johnny Ive was the one who translated those ideas into tangible, minimalist, elegant designs that spoke volumes aesthetically. From the first iPod to the MacBook, and especially the iPhone, Apple's designs have consistently featured a seamless blend of technology and art. Johnny Ive and Jobs worked in perfect harmony to create products that not only fulfilled consumer needs, but also set a new standard for beauty in product design. When Jobs decided to eliminate physical buttons from the iPhone and use only a touchscreen, it was a groundbreaking decision. But Ive was the one who turned that decision into a design that was not only easy to use but also visually stunning, offering a user experience unlike anything else on the market. Jobs, in many ways, was a visionary who knew how to recognize talent and give them the freedom to create. He wasn't directly involved in design, but he had an incredible ability to recognize the importance of creativity and to select the right people who could help him bring his vision to life. Johnny Ive was one of the fortunate individuals who worked closely with Jobs, and together they breathed life into the world's most beloved products. Along with Johnny Ive, another pivotal figure in Jobs' creative journey was Ed Catmull, the co-founder of Pixar. Jobs wasn't just the founder of Apple, he was also the person who took Pixar from a small animation studio to a globally renowned creative powerhouse. Under Jobs' leadership, Pixar produced groundbreaking animated films, and one of the most notable was Toy Story, the first entirely 3D animated feature film, which opened a new era in animation. What was special about Jobs is that he always sought opportunities to connect creative fields, from product design to film, from technology to art. The story of Pixar is a perfect example of this incredible synergy between Jobs and Catmull. Jobs believed in Pixar's limitless creative potential, and when he took over the company, Pixar became a symbol of innovative creativity. Movies like Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, and Up were not only impressive for their cutting-edge animation technology, but also for their deeply emotional and thoughtful storytelling, which Jobs helped bring to the public in a very unique way. From my personal perspective, Jobs was not just a great leader in the tech world, but also a true creative visionary, someone who could spot talent in those around him and give them the opportunity to shine. For Jobs, creativity was never confined to one field. He was always looking for ways to connect creative minds from diverse areas, and that's what led to the creation of an exceptional Apple and Pixar, not just because of the technology or great films, but because of the convergence of truly creative souls. Thus, the collaboration between Jobs, Johnny Ive, and Ed Catmull was not just about technology or design. It was about the union of passionate and creative individuals who changed the way we interacted with technology, experienced art, and even how we perceive the world. Chapter number 5. Personal life. Steve Jobs' personal life wasn't always a smooth journey, even though he became one of the most iconic figures in technology. The book sheds light on many aspects of Jobs' private life, not only his successes, but also his failures, internal struggles, and complicated relationships that helped shape the man we know today. Jobs was known for being an incredibly difficult person to be around, and his relationships with family and loved ones were often a subject of tension. While Jobs had an unwavering love for his work and creativity, he often denied the emotional needs and affection of others. One of the prominent stories is his relationship with his adoptive father, Paul Jobs. Jobs grew up in an adopted family, and the relationship between him and his adoptive father was quite complicated. Although Paul tried hard to nurture and guide him, Jobs did not give him the respect he deserved during his early years. Jobs always felt misunderstood and lacked a true connection with his parents, which led to a profound loneliness that stayed with him throughout his life. Another example of Jobs' personal struggles was his relationship with his daughter, Lisa Brennan Jobs. The relationship between the two was complex and painful. Jobs initially denied his paternity and refused to acknowledge Lisa as his daughter for many years. However, when Jobs realized his love for Lisa, He attempted to rebuild their relationship, but it was not an easy journey. The tension between father and daughter left a significant mark on Jobs and reflected the difficulty in balancing work and personal life. However, these personal challenges deeply influenced Jobs' leadership style and creative career. It could be said that Jobs' personal failures and internal conflicts were a powerful driving force that made him the resilient, uncompromising person he was, always sticking to his chosen path, despite the obstacles. One of the most challenging periods of Jobs' life came when he was fired from the very company he founded. This was a huge shock, not just for Jobs, but for the tech industry as a whole. Apple was Jobs' brainchild, and being pushed out of the company was a painful experience. However, it was during this time that Jobs learned important lessons about patience and long-term vision. Rather than giving up, Jobs chose to focus on self-development and embarked on new ventures, eventually creating Next and purchasing Pixar, two critical moves that helped him return to Apple and rescue the company from the brink of bankruptcy. The story of Jobs returning to Apple is a testament to his determination and strong comeback. When Jobs returned to Apple in 1997, the company was in a state of serious decline, but with his vision and limitless creativity, Jobs led Apple to overcome these challenges, restructuring the company, changing product strategies, and creating revolutionary products like the iMac, iPod, and later the iPhone. It was through his early failures that Jobs became more decisive, less afraid to fail, and willing to take risks to achieve grand goals. From my personal perspective, Jobs' struggles in life were essential in shaping his character and career. He wasn't someone who achieved success easily. Instead, his failures and personal challenges were the driving forces behind his growth and maturity. In many ways, Jobs' life was a constant battle between success and failure. But it was these failures that helped him become an outstanding creator and leader. The complexity and challenges in Jobs' personal life contributed significantly to his image as a powerful, resilient man in the workplace, while also being someone deeply searching for fulfillment in his personal life. This shows that no success comes easily, and only by overcoming personal challenges can someone truly shine in their career. Chapter number 6. Legacy. Ultimately, when considering Steve Jobs' legacy, what stands out is not just the groundbreaking products that Apple created under his leadership, but also how he redefined entire industries and changed the way we perceive technology, design, and business. Jobs was not just a founder, he was a model of creativity and vision. He didn't just create products, he created experiences. Apple products weren't just functional, they connected users to a whole new world, one where technology was no longer abstract, but became an integral part of everyday life. A clear and relatable example of this legacy is the creation of the iPhone. Before the iPhone, there were smartphones, but Jobs and Apple did what no one else thought of. They didn't just create a phone with basic features, they created a mobile computer, a device where users could experience everything in one place. Thanks to the touchscreen technology, using the iPhone became more intuitive and simple than ever before. Before the iPhone, using a mobile phone for browsing the web or playing games seemed almost impossible, but Jobs changed everything. The legacy of the iPhone is not just the product itself, but the revolution in how we interact with technology. Jobs didn't just change products, he transformed the way people think about design. He once said, "Design is not just what it looks like and feels like. Design is how it works." To Jobs, design was not just about outer appearance, it was about perfecting the user experience. This can be seen most clearly in products like the iMac, MacBook Air, and Apple Watch, products that not only had amazing features, but also featured elegant, visually pleasing designs, creating a balance between technology and artistry. Even today, Apple's products remain the gold standard for industrial design. Moreover, Jobs changed how we do business. Before Jobs, tech companies primarily focused on creating products based on technical needs. But Jobs took Apple to an entirely new level by combining creative products with innovative business strategies. He created the Apple ecosystem, where Apple products weren't just standalone items, but were tightly integrated, offering a seamless user experience. The App Store is one of the most obvious examples, where developers could create apps and instantly reach millions of global users, opening up an entirely new market. This legacy doesn't just extend to technology, it also impacted global culture. Apple has become a symbol of luxury and innovation, and users of Apple products aren't just using technology, they're part of a lifestyle. Jobs taught us a vital lesson. Technology isn't just a tool, it's an integral part of culture, emotion, and everyday experience. Personally, I believe Jobs' legacy is not just in the products, but in the disruptive mindset he inspired in an entire generation. Today's entrepreneurs don't just learn from Jobs' successes, they learn from how he challenged the limits and constantly pursued perfection. His vision of technology, design, and business launched a new era where anything can change with just a bold idea. And this legacy will continue to live on, not just in Apple products, but in how we engage with and use technology every day. This book offers a deep and authentic insight into Steve Jobs, not only as a great creative mind, but also as a person with many complex facets in both his personal life and work. Steve Jobs wasn't just the founder of Apple, but a role model of bold innovation and far-reaching vision. However, behind his monumental success was a man full of contradictions and suffering, making bold decisions that could change the world, but also facing broken relationships and loneliness. The book paints a true picture of Jobs' journey, from failures to moments of great creativity, and ultimately the legacy he left for the world. Steve Jobs didn't just change the tech industry, he changed how we think about design, business, and technology. His life is proof that with relentless perseverance and continuous exploration, anything is possible. If you found Steve Jobs' story fascinating and full of valuable lessons, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the Summary Update YouTube channel. Follow us for more engaging book summaries, helping you discover inspiring stories and valuable knowledge from great books. Thank you for watching.